Today's AskReddit post. What was a dude? Just go home kinda moment when you witness someone trying to impress people. Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Myself and a friend were at a pub. Just two girls having a drink and a laugh. There was a dude who was bothering us all night. He was pretty drunk and very annoying. We were polite to him at first and conversed, but he was getting very sexual with his comments, so my friend just told him to duck off. He left us alone, but at closing time we were outside waiting for our cab and he started again. Only this time he was being an even bigger dick, calling us sluts and bitches etc. A big guy who was close walked over and told him to piss off and stop bothering us. The drunk guy then tried to punch the big guy but misses, then realizing he's about to get his ass beat runs across the road and gets hit by a car. I hate sluts, but I want these girls to have random casual sex with me, and if they don't then they're even bigger sluts. Guys. This isn't a nice guy. This is just a douche. The nice guy was the dude by himself at the bar that never made a move. Went home by himself and posted toxic shit on internet forums because none approached him that night. This is a dumb argument to have. But being nice to women in an effort to win them over, only to flip a switch and turn into a douchebag when that doesn't work, is basically the definition of a nice guy. I'm a lifeguard, so I see lots of really awkward interactions between 12-14-year-old kids. My favorite is when a kid belly flopped trying to impress a girl and ended up throwing up instead. Can any women out there confirm or deny if belly flops are a good approach to getting laid? Go to show them you are alpha by asserting dominance over the water. The red belly is the mark of a true man. And you're a real woman? You know it's illegal to pretend to be a woman online, right? This is important data collection, so no tomfoolery. Please. Amateur. It was the vomit afterwards that really won her heart. The belly flop opened the door, but the bath is what flooded the streets. I had a guy pull up in the lane beside my car on a motorcycle at a red light. He did this little wave and kissy smooch face at me and kept revving it up. When the light turned he tried to do a wheelie takeoff and ended up falling off. I stopped and asked if he was okay, at which point he realized that I was old enough to be his mother. Still makes me laugh. This is my fav so far. This dude failed without alcohol, guitar or a teenage BS story. Maybe it wasn't he realized that you were old enough to be his mother, but rather how women older than him could be so hot. I honestly feel bad for every drunk idiot in this thread. Booze is ducking poison and nobody is themselves on it. I was in the smoking area of a busy bar with a friend of mine, and he started chatting up a girl. I was doing the usual small talk with her friend. You know, the small talk that has the subtext of, well, those two are probably gonna bang. How about this weather we've been having, huh? My drunk friend decided to do the condom trick to impress his newfound lady friend. The trick where you unroll a condom, snort it up your nose, and spit it out your mouth. Well, it went a bit wrong. The condom went up his nose alright, and some of it managed to drop down into his throat, but the base of it stayed lodged somewhere around his sinuses. Within seconds, theatrical snorting gave way to uncontrollable coughing, choking noises, and then projectile vomiting that sprayed out his mouth and his one unblocked nostril, covering the table, a large area of floor, and of course, his newfound lady friend. Cleared the entire smoking room. Got us both thrown out of the bar, and needless to say he did not get laid that night. The trick where you unroll a condom, snort it up your nose, and spit it out your mouth. What the duck? It's a thing. It's about as disgusting as it sounds. Pro tip though, if you want to see it done, never ask my friend for a demonstration. Why is it a thing? How is it a trick? If I saw that it would be an instant goodbye, and I'm a guy. Hey baby, want to see how I waste my only condom? My best friend in high school used to come up with the most insane lies to be more interesting. She used to tell us her dad, who she had no contact with, owned multiple houses in an area similar to, I'd say, Malibu. She used to say she was a child model, and that her family opened the first Coke factory. It never stopped, and a year after we graduated, she bought a ring at something like a dollar store and told everyone she was engaged to a model from the US when we asked to see a photo. She used a stock photo from Google Mayo. We constantly had second-hand embarrassment. I feel a bit sorry for her. She clearly has some genuine social issues that she needs to address. Being her best friend, I tried to help her so many times and it didn't help. I hope she's doing well. It got exhausting and I broke ties. Yes, some people aren't ready for help sometimes. I hope one day she just grows out of it almost once she gets more fulfillment in her life. We were all waiting for the bus after school and this kid whipped out a guitar and sang a god-awful remix of some Jason Mraz song to his love interest. It didn't help that his absurdly unkempt fingernails were used as his guitar pick. It was a train wreck and I still violently cringe whenever I think about the poor girl just standing there trying to be polite throughout the ordeal. Edit. I know guitarists tend to have grown out nails. Yes, this kid was in the guitar class. I should have specified beforehand that it was the amount of brown gunk caked under his fingernails, which is why I said unkempt. Edit 2. Before more people you comment, most people who play have long fingernails or any variation. Please see this and know I've already corrected my original poorly specified sentence and have acknowledged it in several previous replies. Had this happen once, at least the start. I was in a middle school with music program, so we were a small group, like a tiny class, who would regularly leave the actual school to go to the music school nearby as the program intended. It was on precise hours, so we would all go together. One of the guy, a guitarist, had a crush on a girl also playing guitar. We all knew, even her, but she wasn't into him, so she just tried to dodge the subject. Well, one day he takes out his guitar as we're all waiting in front of the music school. Early morning and it was opening after the actual school, so we had to wait a bit. He takes his guitar, turns to her, and as we're all ready to see a disaster, she just dashed close on him, puts her hand on the guitar to block all chords and gave him the coldest no I've ever witnessed while looking him dead in the eye. Oh god. Friends of ours have a sailboat and a ton of sailing friends. Several years ago, their daughter's first communion rolls around and they have a massive bash. Now the thing about sailing people is they're friendly, and you cannot tell the guy with the 50-footer from the guy who scrapes the barnacles off. Especially when everyone is hanging out in a backyard with a bunch of beer and barbecue. New neighbor is there too. He does his Beck or say I'm a lawyer thing where he's all pompous, talks to this nice older lady and treats her like dirt because he's a lawyer. He makes sure she knows that he is very important, because he is a lawyer. 10 minutes later, he's doing his pompous lawyer thing with someone else, who says, oh, hey, I have a great contact for you to meet. Drags the asshole lawyer over and says, Judy, meet, asshole, asshole. This is Judy, Dean of Georgetown Law. It was, of course, the nice older lady. She must have been thrilled to meet a real life lawyer, having been to law school and known at least 3 law school deans. I can tell you that there is some truth to the comment. One of the 3 had never practiced, another practiced long ago, and the other hadn't practiced law since the 80s, but had managed a legal organization with lawyers. US attorney for my state. Get out of here with your facts and logic. S. It was this dude in high school who kept talking about how he was gonna sing a song to a girl he was crushing on and win her heart. We all thought he was just being stupid. Well, charity drive week comes, and you could like rent the mic in the cafe to raise money. Most people used it to play their favorite CD or make their friends suffer through the worst 70s pop music or whatever. Well, this ducker Gary rents the mic and sings something to the girl, and dedicates it to her. So she's embarrassed as duck and walks out almost immediately, and I don't even remember if he was terrible or not, but basically everyone was just like WTF. How did Mike feel about all this though? Yeah, I mean Mike was minding his own business, and to be rented and used, poor guy. Hope he's okay now though. At a party, a drunk guy was bragging to girls he could take everyone there in a fight because of his high pain tolerance and asked someone to break a bottle over his head, which they happily obliged, so he pounded the rest of his beer and knocked him good over the head, but the bottle didn't bust. Instead it just bounced off and he fell face first into a block wall unconscious with a huge knot forming on his head and blood streaming from his now broken nose. This is why women statistically live longer. Face with tears of joy. As a man I 100% agree. You agree? I'll hit you with a bottle for that. Cheers. I'll drink to that. During a house party at my sister's, one of the friends got too drunk and started asking all the women their bra size. Eventually my brother-in-law told him to go home or get knocked out. Ended up getting a ride from a DD, designated driver. Glad you specified designated driver. I thought that guy won the numbers game and had a girl WDDs take him home. Would have been funnier to leave it ambiguous. Dang. I was at a club with a few friends. Two of the friends were fighting over a guy. Long story, and I took them outside to try to talk it out. We were sitting on the windowsill of the store next to the club, and this guy who kept trying to hit on us in the club came over and tried to sit down next to us. I told him we were trying to figure some things out and could he please give us some space. His friends came over and he started calling me a BH, telling me it's a free country and he can sit wherever he wants, etc. I said please just leave us alone and he kept going off on me. We ended up crossing the street to get some space, and I see a much bigger guy approach the guy that was bothering us and punch him square in the face. Guess we weren't the only people he annoyed that night. I swear to God that people would start being more polite or at least think twice about being rude if there was a higher possibility of getting punched in the face. They need to lower it down to just a fine or something low like that. You should punch Congress in the face until they listen to you. I had a guy try to break his hockey stick in anger at a pickup game. There could not have been lesser stakes. Nobody keeps score or takes the game seriously, and the guy was acting like he was in a Stanley Cup Finals. He tried and failed to break his $200 plus stick at least 15 times because he missed a shot. You keep 100% of the hockey sticks you don't break. Wayne Gretzky. You keep 100% of the hockey sticks you don't break. Wayne Gretzky. Michael Scott. My girlfriend at the time got her first acting gig in a mutual friend's film after the premiere. She and I and a bunch of local beautiful people went to a swanky bar restaurant to celebrate. She sat down at the bar, and the local male Univision anchor sat next to her sloppy drunk and started hitting on her saying, "Did you know you look like BB Gayton? He is a little older." I just watched, kinda embarrassed for him, kinda chuckling. I went home and, sure enough, she did kinda look like her LOL. My buddy in college believed hitting on women at the bar was a numbers game. We were at the local dive bar and he noticed a group of 5 really good looking girls walk in. He walked up to the bartender and ordered 7 shots of cheap vodka, 2 for us and 1 for each of them. They were polite, but declined to drink with us. We sat at a small table and slammed the shots. I was on my way up to perform my karaoke song when I yacked, missing the trash can. It was a dude. Just go home moment for both of us. It was a dude. Just go home moment for both of us. No way. You were polite and friendly to a group of girls that didn't want to have anything to do with it, so you went and had some fun without bothering them. You did good. I agree that it could have gone worse, but it is still a dude. Go home moment. The good news was that at least it was a dude. We should go home moment. I was at a karaoke bar in California. I was with a group of women who happened to be lesbian, one of which was my girlfriend. I'm bisexual. Some drunk Marine started hitting on me. I told him I was there with my girlfriend. He continued on and I once again explained I was there with my girlfriend. I even said, "What about the word girlfriend, don't you understand? Clearly, you aren't my type." His friends grabbed him and brought him back to their table. He eventually made his way back to me. My girlfriend put her arm around me and asked him what his problem is. He walked over to the bar to get another drink and sit with his buddies. Eventually, he starts singing "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" via karaoke. A few of his buddies joined in, probably so he didn't look crazy singing by himself while begging them to sing back up. I was mortified for him. He needed to go crash somewhere and sleep it off. Needless to say, I left with my girlfriend. One more really drunk guy at a bar taking his partial off and showing it to me while giving me a big grin, exposing all the missing there the partial was made to fill. As bad as it was, the worst part was when he took the partial out. There was a long string of drool going from his mouth to his partial in his hand. Gag, go home dude. You're drunk. Partial? What is that? From the context I think they meant a partial denture. Like a few teeth on a base that can be taken out. In undergrad I took an intro to computer science class, which was mostly freshmen. The prof was coding a simple math algorithm and offhandedly asked the value of pi. A kid started reeling off digits, and after the first 4 or 5 there was an audible groan in the class. You could tell he had memorized it at some point and thought, this is my moment. But instead came off as that guy. Dude has major peaked and mid-less school vibes. I have two. The first was at a wedding. My elderly but trendy relatives had a few drinks. They decided to hit the dance floor. The DJ plays Lil Jon, and there they are, waving their limbs and yelling skeet. Occasionally once they got a feel for the song, they had no clue what it meant. It was surreal and I was lucky enough to get it on video. Lil Jon really pulled a good one over on white people, face with tears of joy. The second was at someone else's family party. This guy gets drunk and starts going full creeper. There were some pregnant and nursing mothers there. He starts going on and on about the sweet taste of breast milk and how he used to take some of his girlfriends from the fridge. He won't stop talking about it and is making people uncomfortable, but he thinks he's cool. I finally tell him to switch the subject, so he starts talking about banging his girl the day after she gave birth. My wife gets this horrified look, C-section, and then the idiot starts smirking and asking the other girls how soon they had sex after birth. We just left, lol. What a loser. This guy gets drunk and starts going full creeper. There were some pregnant and nursing mothers there. I'm not Hitchcock when it comes to ladies. He's fearless. I once saw him ask out a breastfeeding mother. Scully. B99. Me and a group of buddies were at a bar in college. One of my male friends told a crude joke in the presence of a female, who he was good friends with. A drunk white knight bro who we met that night and had been hanging with us got very offended that someone would talk like that around a woman, and starts yelling at my joke telling friend. The female friend told him she thought it was funny and it wasn't a problem. But he gets up in the guy's face and starts flashing his USMC tattoo saying that he's a soldier and would kick his ass. We rolled our eyes and called it a night. I later saw him at a show doing coke on the dance floor. I went out partying with some classmates. Among them a very attractive girl. A colleague got drunk and when we were in the car about to go back home he tried to flirt with her. I already suspected that he liked that girl but he always denied it. Seeing that she was very uncomfortable, I changed places and stood in the middle so that he would leave her alone and I told him that that was enough. You're a good person. Thank you for doing that. When I worked at Domino's, one of the drivers had just gotten a brand new Cadillac. Not exactly sure which model, but it was the sports car one. Anyways, he proceeded to show every driver in the parking lot behind the store his drifting skills. He then proceeded to drift his car over a curb and into trees. Completely ruined his passenger side. He was one of those guys that always tried to one-up everybody else. So I definitely got a kick out of it. How does a Domino's driver afford a Cadillac? Same way someone who just enlisted gets a Charger. 23% interest baby. I was hanging out at the river with my nieces recently and there was this spot on the bridge that everyone was jumping off into the river. I was standing up there to keep an eye on my niece and there was this annoying man who was diving off the bridge in between people who were kayaking and floating on tubes. He would jump to make it look like he was going to land on them. A few times he did end up hitting the tubes and knocking people out of them. He was pissing so many people off. It was very nerve-wracking to witness. The worst part was he seemed to be about 40 or something and he was doing this to impress all the kids on the bridge. Literally kids from age 7 to 18. He also mentioned to me that he had literally just moved to town a few days prior. I guess that was his way of trying to make friends. Friends with children. A 25-year-old, coked out stripper in a bar yesterday telling everyone that her taxes paid unemployment for all these deadbeats that aren't working while trying to charm guys into buying her drinks. You ducking suck. Pay me. There are at least 3 dudes who said okay, with enthusiasm. We were at a funeral for a friend who got killed. It was a very somber and sad mood. This deceased was beloved by the entire neighborhood. The background noise was sobbing and whispers. Then from seemingly nowhere this dude burst through the door with a half-gallon of black velvet and yells, "Let's get this show started," accompanied by him throwing this hat 15 feet across the room and knocking over the urn. It was more like a "dude you had better just leave" moment. He ended up getting beaten shitless. We stole his shoes, whiskey and wallet. Wow, he really earned that beating. Ha, that made me smile. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.